I think we're up off the ground. All right, we are going to start with inoculations. First things first, got to get all of our PPE. So I wear my lab coat, gloves, and a mask. I'll put the mask on right before we get started. First thing I got to do is get everything cleaned down and go from there. I may have to run and grab some paper towels. Hold on one second. All right. Had to go get some trusty paper towels. Go through quite a bit of paper towels. Vinegar, we're a little bit low on. And oh, I need my isopropyl alcohol. Give me 1 second. I let one of my assistants use this the other day, and they did not put it back. So, which, not blaming them, because I would have likely done the same. So, all right. We're gonna top off our isopropyl alcohol here. We use a lot of that. Vinegar, I think we're okay. So what I like to do, what I like to use, is a combination of cleaning vinegar and isopropyl alcohol. And I use the vinegar on the stainless steel because it helps kind of keep the rust off. And then the isopropyl alcohol sanitizes everything. Hey, all viewers. Live chat. Okay, so I just want to make sure here. Letting you all know, this is the first, this is the inaugural live stream. So I've not done it through YouTube before. So there's going to be a whole lot. Hey, what's going on, Mighty Milo? There's a lot that I am going to be new to. And Mad, what's up? So the first mushrooms that we're going to be inoculating here in just a few minutes, we're going to be doing some pink oyster mushrooms. And then I think we're going to do some blue oyster mushrooms too. You're my fan. Well, I'm your fan. How about that? Bet you weren't expecting that one. I got a brand new scale because my old one, while it works and it does the job, it's so incredibly unreliably sensitive that it just looking at it has a quantum effect. You stare at it too long and it just it throws the weight off a lot. You speak Spanish? I wish I was good at Spanish. California, and I used to speak a little bit better Spanish, but even then, at my best, my Spanish has never been very good. So I apologize. I wish I could communicate with you better, but I'm just I'm not very good at Spanish. I'm sorry. I'd only embarrass myself. Hey. So, hola. Yeah, it looks like there's an auto translator, so that's pretty cool. Again, this is my first stream through YouTube. Doing it this way, like right off my phone and everything. So there's going to be a lot that I'm going to have to figure out. And eventually, if this works out well, and we end up doing this more often, I may invest in like a streaming setup for a little bit more of a robust experience, because I really want, what I would really ideally want is to have, like, a long time ago I was an artist, and I had a Twitch streaming setup, and I really enjoyed the robust quality of having like a good streaming setup. I'm thinking about eventually investing in that as well. I do have a microphone that I could use for this, but I have never really tried it with live streaming it, so I'm gonna wait and use it on the next go. How many pieces are we cutting the body into? Pieces are we cutting the body into? What are you talking about? You're crazy. I leave the bodies whole. I freeze them. They just thaw better that way. What's up, Torb? Yeah, so today we're going to be doing, we're going to start off with some pink oyster mushrooms and then blue oyster mushrooms. What's up, Dragon? All right, so now we have to do the process of keeping clean for ourselves and keeping clean for the mushrooms. So I do have to put a mask on, so if it gets a little bit muffled, my voice, I apologize. There's not a whole lot I can do about this here. We have to keep things nice and clean for the mushrooms. Lost connection there. Ooh. So sorry about that. Looks like we lost a little bit of connection there for a minute. So we want to check and see if there's any green spots on our grain spun. There does not appear to be at first inspection. So I'm going to clean this off. And break up our grain spawn. Sorry. Make sure all that's good there. All right. So now this has been sanitized. And then we're going to take this is a block of our master's mix. Hey y'all. You're a brain rot. Oh, is that a brain rot? I have to ask my son about that. He knows all about all the good brain rots. So this is our master's mix block, so we got to break it up. And again, we also check it for any signs of contamination. Yeah, I'll have to ask my son about that. I don't know anything about this stuff, but he knows, like, if it's brain rot from any country, like, I swear to God, my son, he's 12 years old. He knows where it came from, everything about it. All right, so we're going to measure out our grain spawn. Scale's a little bit slower than I'd like, but it's fine. And then we're going to add that spawn to our bag. I don't know how well you can see all that. And then I've got a bag sealer right in here, so I'm going to seal that bag up. My channel's 4 break. Oh, got it. All right. And so now we check the seal. Feels pretty good. And then it's ready for mixing. I've got a little mixing machine right here, so it's gonna get kind of a little bit noisy. You'll probably hear it running right now. It's like a whirring noise. So that mixing machine is going to do some of the mixing for me in the bag to make sure that that grain spawn mixes into the substrate nicely. And so we're just going to keep doing that over and over again. Hey, what's up? Hope you're doing well today. Right now we're making fruiting blocks of oyster mushrooms, pink oyster mushrooms to be exact. That whirring sound that you're hearing, that is my mixing machine. And so now that it's done, you won't hear it anymore. Go. Add the grain spawn to the substrate. And then we seal our bag up. And there you go. And then once this bag's sealed up, then we send this one to mix. That seal seems good. I'm going to take this bag that was just mixed up. I'm going to give it a secondary toss. And did I remember to bring... There we go. I'm going to mark it with today's date, 12th. And that bag is ready. My fan to 1 year. Really? It's amazing. Let me know if that sound is a little bit too annoying, because what I can do is I can actually manually mix the bags, and that would help reduce the noise. It just slows down my work process. Here we go again. So if you guys have any questions about mushrooms, whether it's growing them, cooking them, whatever, like, feel free to ask. If you subscribe for a year, well, welcome to my first live stream. I really appreciate that a lot. I know I've been a little bit negligent to the YouTube channel. I've been a little bit negligent to the YouTube channel, so I apologize for not really doing more with it. But I feel like I'm finally in a position now that I can finally do a little bit more with the YouTube channel. Like I want to do more live streams when I work, especially when I'm like harvesting or packing orders and things like that. and I want to do more videos on the process of growing mushrooms and like what we do and stuff like that. So again, I appreciate you being a subscriber. I'm kind of trying to figure out how I'm going to make all this work out. Oh, thanks for all the love, y'all. I really appreciate that a lot. So, if the channel does well, what I'd like to do is I'd like to invest into like a streaming rig where I'll put a computer down here and get a couple of cameras for it, and then that way we can kind of have like different angles so you guys can see a little bit more of the process, kind of like a little bit closer and a little bit more intimate. But given this is the first stream, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. So now that we've done a few of these bags, I'm going to show you guys one that's all mixed up here in just a second. So when they're not mixed, all of the grain sits on top like this. You can kind of see it a little bit, and then all the substrate's on the bottom. And so we don't want that. We want it to be distributed in there. So that way it grows more evenly and it grows faster. And so like this one, this one's been mixed a lot better, so now we don't see as much grain sitting on top. It's all been mixed around the bag. Yes, this is my premiere stream, yeah. So yeah, so now it's all mixed up. And so what's really cool about how this works, so the grain spawn has the actual fungus growing on it. And when we add it to the substrate, what ends up happening is that all of those little seeds that go throughout their it's like rye berries, they have the fungus, they all spread out, kind of like a star pattern, like starry night, like looking at the stars in the sky throughout the substrate, and then the fungus starts to grow. It jumps off of the grain spawn and starts eating the wood and the soy that's in the substrate. And since it's all genetically identical, once those little strands, what we call hyphae, start to meet and touch each other, they make a big network, and we call that mycelium. And the mycelial network, once it goes from all of those little points of fungus and starts to grow together, it all becomes one organism again, which is really cool. So that's why fungus is so neat. Is it goes from being a single point where the two spores meet, and it becomes one thing, and then it breaks apart after we expanded it out, and then it becomes one thing again once it grows back together. So it's pretty cool. All right, we're gonna run that one. You can see there I poured a little bit too much. Whoop. Something fell. I poured a little bit too much and I had to pour it back. Your philosophy of life. What's going on? How you doing? All right, now we're going to add the grain spawn to the bag. Look at that, we're making mushrooms. It's kind of cool to see all these people in these different languages joining up. I think it's really cool. The auto translator has been very helpful. I apologize for not being able to speak more of your native languages, but I think it's great that you're here. You're very welcome to be here all you like and ask as many questions about mushrooms, growing mushrooms, cooking mushrooms, eating them, anything mushroom adjacent. I am happy to answer any and all questions I can. Oh, drop my pen. Blocks can be rather stiff. All right, we have a little bit of extra in that. Weird. Yeah, I don't understand all that. So we've got a little bit of extra. So I'm going to make a little grow kit. So one of the products we sell are grow kits. They're these smaller bags, and instead of fruiting them into mushrooms here at our farm, what I do is I sell these online to be shipped, and people can grow them in their own home. Do you really want to watch this kind of movie? That's a good question. So I've been using an automatic bag shaker. It's that with that whirring robotic noise you've probably been hearing. And I'm going to show you how I manually shake them when I don't have the use of the tool. You'll see it's a lot more vigorous and rigorous of a process. Alright, so the way that you would manually shake them like that. You got to remember these are 10-pound bags. I forget what that is in kilos, so just do the math. But these are 10-pound bags, so it's quite a bit of arm work. All right. Okay, first batch of pink oysters are done. So again, see they're all mixed up really good now. No more stuff sitting on top. It's all blended in there really well. And so these will sit on our incubation shelves here in the lab area for about 11 days before we send them over to fruiting. And then we cut the bags open, knock out all the air, and then they fruit into mushrooms. It's really cool. But we got some more pink oysters to do. So again, here's our fresh bag of grain spawn, which we need to inspect closely for signs of contamination. Because as good as a job as my team does for grain spawn, no matter what, nature does what it wants to do, and you end up with what you get. So you gotta be really careful to make sure you don't introduce any molds or competing organisms that you don't want. All right, now we've got a nice sterilized bag. At this point, I usually like to, just out of a overabundance of caution, I like to clean out and clean off some of my area, just to make sure that if there's anything that maybe got incorporated into the gross or the workspace, it gets deleted. And so this your bed Venezuela is night. Cool. All right, we'll go back to bed. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. You have a good one. It's very nice of you to join me, and we'll probably see you on another one, I hope. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe, and that goes for everybody. Yeah, like I said before, I've let the channel lay a little bit dormant and derelict, and I really kind of regret doing that. I wish I'd done a little bit more work with YouTube, and I'm planning on doing more both like short form and long form videos. I've been primarily doing short form videos just because they've been easier for me to do, but I'm finally starting to get into the workflow where I can afford to take the time to do a little bit more recording and thoughtful planning and longer form videos. So I'm hopefully doing more of those, more of these streams. This is my first stream for this account ever, and hopefully the first of many. More inoculating, more pink oysters. So out of these 2 bags of brain spawn, we'll get about 12 10-pound blocks of pink oyster mushrooms, and they'll yield a good couple pounds of mushrooms on their own. If the conditions are right, we'll get 2 to maybe 3 maximum pounds flushes out of these. And then when we're done with these pink oysters, we'll do the same thing with the blue oysters. When they're at this stage, there's not a lot of visual difference between them. There's not a lot of identity. It's really difficult because they all kind of look the same. They all kind of inoculate the same in the bags. And there are some species that we do different things with them. Looks like everybody left. There's one nice thing about having 0 viewers on your stream is that like nothing really matters. You don't have to take a lot of time. Answering questions or whatnot, but actually I really enjoy answering questions personally. I like when people have like even like obscure weird questions about mushrooms or the way that I grow them or how I cook them or whatever, So again, we go again. So we break up our block. And then now we've got some pink oyster mushroom grain spawn that we're going to add to the scale. Break up the chunks and plop. Like the let's make a pizza. I know you've all seen the videos. Another 2 or 3 bags out of this one. I'm hoping 3. How's it going? Trying to fix something here. There we go. All right. Pink oyster mushroom spawn poured. Now we add it to our block. Now we seal the block. And then once it's all nice and sealed, we'll put it into our mixing machine here. And we make mushrooms, baby. If you're watching and you have any questions about mushrooms, mushroom growing, mushroom eating, whatever, feel free to ask. I love answering questions. And that sound you're hearing, that is my mixing machine, which you hear off camera. It helps the grain spawn into the... It saves me a little bit of extra work. Because when you do this all by yourself, every bit counts. This new scale I got. Hey, how's it going? What's up, Brago? The new scale I got is very accurate, but it's slow, and that is a criticism I have. My last scale was not very accurate, but it's lightning fast, which is probably why it wasn't very accurate. Thanks so much for showing up. Right now, I am inoculating your friend of Dragon. Oh, cool! Hey, well, welcome and thank you so much, Dragon. Like, that's super cool. Don't forget to give the like and subscribe if you wouldn't mind, please. This is my first live stream on YouTube with this channel. I've done live streams with other stuff in the past, like years ago, through like Twitch when I was doing like artwork and stuff like that. So this is the first one, and if this goes well, and if the next few go well, we may invest into some better like streaming setup. But I really want to get people like invested in you know, bought into like how cool it is to grow mushrooms. Like, growing mushrooms is fun. It's awesome. This is the best job I've ever had. I think it's the best job in the whole world. One more, and then we're going to switch up from these pink oyster mushrooms, and we'll start inoculating our blue oyster mushrooms. Last of the pink oyster mushrooms. Now, when I got started growing mushrooms, thank you for all the emotes, I appreciate that. When I got started growing mushrooms, the very first mushroom I ever grew was a pink oyster mushroom. Video game channel you got 55 million is recommended. Heard. Check something here. So this right here, that finishes up the pink oyster mushrooms. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these bags on my incubation shelf for the pink oyster mushrooms. And actually, what I'll probably do here is I'll turn the camera so that way you can see it. Who knows how well this is going to go. going to go down here into the hallway. In fact, if you look here, I'll show you around. Behind me is a bunch of other mushrooms in their bags on their shelves. So this whole space is all mushroom growing. So these pink oyster mushrooms, once they start getting more colonized, you can start to see the white in here. See how like it's starting to get more white? This is where the mycelium goes from being like this raw wood look, to being more colonized. You can actually see the white mycelium on top. So this is something that's almost ready to go to fruiting. And for these types of mushrooms, it takes about 11 days to go from this to what you saw. It's about 11 days. And our last 2 bags. Okay, so now we've put up all of our pink oyster mushrooms. We got to do the same thing, pardon me, sorry, getting a little personal. We're going to do the same thing we just did, but we're going to do it with the blue oyster mushrooms. Oh, that mask is gone. Cheap disposable masks, they do that a lot. Oh no, you don't. Okay. Good. Gotta re-decontaminate myself. Now this blue oyster mushroom spawn, it is significantly more colonized, so you really see how white it is and how dense it is. It's not like very pourable. It's very solid. And so in order to get it to do what we want it to do, something fun to get to break stuff. Like, I hate you, Dad. Like, you were never there for me. bag. And then we go again. We're going to measure out about 400 grams-ish of grain spawn. In 1 second. I'll be right back, y'all. All right, I'm back. There was someone pounding on the door. Turns out they had the wrong building. You have to kind of see now, down here, the mixing machine, it's like... Alrighty, y'all. Well, I think this is going to wrap up the inaugural stream. I really wanted to try this out and see if this would work well, so thank you to everyone that showed up for this. We will do more streams in the future, it looks like, and we'll try out some more different video types and things like that. So they won't always be inoculation. Sometimes they'll be harvesting or other things, so keep us in mind, and maybe we'll even get to a stream schedule at some point. So anyway, thanks y'all, appreciate you. Bye.